At morn, at noon, at twilight dim, Maria, thou hast heard my hymn. In joy and woe, in good and ill, Mother of God, be with me still. When the hours flew by, and not a cloud obscured the sky, my soul, lest it should truant be, thy grace did guide to thine and thee. Now, in storms of fate overcast, darkly my present and my past, let my future radiant shine, with sweet hopes of thee and thine. For her this rhyme is penned, whose luminous eyes, brightly expressive as the twins of Loeda, shall find her own sweet name that, nestling lies upon the page, enwrapped from every reader. Search narrowly the lines, they hold a treasure divine, a talisman, an amulet that must be worn at heart. Search well the measure, the words, the syllables, do not forget the trivialest point, or you may lose your labor. And yet, there is in this no Gordian knot, which one might not undo without a sabra, if one could merely comprehend the plot, enwritten upon the leaf, where now are peering eyes scintillating so. There lies Perdus, 3 elegant words, oft uttered in the hearing of poets, by poets, as the name is of poets too. Its letters, although naturally lined, like the knight Pinto, Mendes Ferdinando, still form a synonym for true. Cease trying, you will not read the riddle, though you do the best you can do. Type of the antique Rome. Rich reliquary, oft lofty contemplation left to time, by buried centuries of pomp and power, at length, after so many days of weary pilgrimage and burning thirst for the springs of lore that in thee lie, I kneel, an altered and an humble man, amid thy shadows, and so drink within my very soul thy grandeur, gloom and glory, vastness and age, and memories of eld, silence and desolation, and dim night. I feel ye now, I feel ye in your strength, O spells more sure than e'er Judean king, taught in the gardens of Gethsemane, O charms more potent than the rapt Chaldee ever drew down from out the quiet stars. Here where a hero fell, a column falls. Here where the mimic eagle glared in gold, a midnight vigil holds the swarthy bat. Here where the dames of Rome their gilded hair waved to the wind, now wave the reed and thistle. Here where on golden throne the monarch lulled, glides spectre-like unto his marble home, lit by the wan light of the horned moon, the swift and silent lizard of the stones. But stay, these walls, these ivy-clad arcades, these mouldering plinths, these sad and blackened shafts, these vague entablatures, this crumbling frieze, these shattered cornices, this wreck, this ruin, these stones, alas, these grey stones, are they all of the famed and the colossal left, by the corrosive hours to fate and me? Not all, the echoes answered me, not all. Prophetic sounds and loud arise forever from us, and from all ruin unto the wise. As melody from Memnon to the sun, we rule the hearts of mightiest men, we rule with a despotic sway all giant minds. We are not impotent, we pallid stones, not all our power is gone, not all our fame, not all the magic of our high renown, not all the wonder that encircles us, not all the mysteries that in us lie, not all the memories that hang upon and cling around about us as a garment, clothing us in a robe of more than glory. I saw thee once only years ago. I must not say how many, but not many. It was a July midnight, and from out a full-orbed moon, that, like thine own soul, soaring, sought a precipitate pathway up through heaven, there fell a silvery silken veil of light, with a quietude and sultriness and slumber, upon the upturned faces of 1,000 roses that grew in an enchanted garden, where no wind dared to stir unless on tiptoe, fell on the upturned faces of these roses that gave out in return for the love light their ardorous souls in an ecstatic death, fell on the upturned faces of these roses, that smiled and died in these parterre, enchanted by thee and by the poetry of thy presence, clad all in white, upon a violent bank. I saw thee half reclining, while the moon fell on the upturned faces of the roses, and on thine own upturned, alas, in sorrow. Was it not fate that, on this July midnight, was it not fate, whose name is also sorrow, that bade me pause before the garden gate, to breathe the incense of those slumbering roses? No footstep stirred, the hatred world all slept, save only thee and me. O heaven, O God, how my heart beats in coupling those two words, save only thee and me. I paused, I looked, and in an instant all things disappeared. Ah, bear in mind this garden was enchanted. The pearly lustre of the moon went out. The mossy banks and the meandering paths, the happy flowers and the repining trees, were seen no more. And the very roses' odors, died in the arms of the adoring airs. All expired save thee, save less than thou, save only the divine light in thine eyes, save but the soul in thine uplifted eyes. I saw but them. They were the world to me. I saw but them, saw only them for hours, saw only them until the moon went down. What wild heart history seemed to lie enwritten upon those crystalline celestial spheres! How dark a woe, yet how sublime a hope! How silently serene a sea of pride! How daring an ambition, yet how deep, how fathomless a capacity for love! But now, at length, dear Diane sank from sight into a western couch of thundercloud, and thou, a ghost amid the entombing trees, didst glide away. Only thine eyes remained. They would not go. They never yet have gone. Lighting my lonely path home that night, they have not left me as my hopes have since. They follow me. They lead me through the years. They are my ministers, yet I their slave. Their office is to illuminate and enkindle, my duty to be saved by their bright light, and purified in their electric fire, and sanctified in their Elysian fire. They fill my soul with beauty, which is hope, and are far up in heaven, the stars I kneel to in the sad silent watches of my night. While even in the meridian glare of the day, I see them still, two sweetly scintillant Venuses, unextinguished by the sun. Not long ago, the writer of these lines, in the mad pride of intellectuality, maintained the power of words, denied that ever a thought arose within the human brain, beyond the utterance of the human tongue, and now, as if in mockery of the boast, two words, two foreign soft dissyllables, Italian tones, made only to be murmured by angels dreaming in the moonlit dew that hangs like chains of pearls on Hermon Hill, have stirred from out the abysses of his heart unthought-like thoughts that are the souls of thought, richer, far wilder, far diviner visions than even the seraph harper, Israfel, who has the sweetest voice of all God's creatures, could hope to utter, and I, my spells are broken, the pen falls powerless from my shivering hand. With thy dear name as text, though bidden by thee, I cannot write, I cannot speak or think, alas, I cannot feel. For 'tis not feeling, this standing motionless upon the golden threshold of the wide open gate of dreams, gazing entranced adown the gorgeous vista, and thrilling as I see upon the right, upon the left, and all the way along, amid unpurple vapors, far away to where the prospect terminates, thee only. The skies, they were ashen and sober. The leaves, they were crisped and sere. The leaves, they were withering and sere. It was night in the loathsome October of my most immemorial year. It was hard by the dim lake of Auber, in the misty region of Weir. It was down by the dank tarn of Auber, in the cool-haunted woodland of Weir. Here once, through an alley titanic of cypress, I roamed with my soul, of cypress with Psyche my soul. There were days when my heart was volcanic, as the scoriac rivers that roll, as the lavas that restlessly roll. the sulphurous currents down Yannick, and the ultimate climbs of the pole that groan as they roll down Mount Yannick in the realms of the boreal pole. Our talk had been serious and sober, but our thoughts they were palsied and sear. Our memories were treacherous and sear, for we knew not the month was October, and we marked not the year, the night of the year. Ah, night of all nights in the year. We noted not the dim lake of Aber, though once we had journeyed down here. Remember not the dank tarn of Aber, not the ghoul-haunted woodland of Weir. And now, as the night was senescent, and star-dials pointed to morn, as the star-dials hinted of morn, at the end of our path a liquescent and nebulous lustre was born, out of which a miraculous crescent arose with a duplicate horn. As starred is bedimined crescent, distinct with its duplicate horn, and I said, she is warmer than Diane. She rolls through an ether of sighs, she revels in a region of sighs. She has seen that the tears are not dry on these cheeks, where the worm never dies, and has come past the stars of the line to point us the path to the skies, to the Levian peace of skies. Come up, in despite of the line, to shine on us with her bright eyes. Come up through the layer of the line, with love in her luminous eyes. But Psyche, uplifting her finger, said, sadly the star I mistrust. Her pallor I strangely mistrust. O hasten, O let us not linger, O fly, let us fly, for we must, in terror she spoke, letting sink her wings till they trailed in the dust, in agony sobbed, letting sink her plumes till they trailed in the dust, till they sorrowfully trailed in the dust. I replied, this is nothing but dreaming. Let us on by this tremulous light. Let us bathe in this crystalline light. In syllabic splendor is beaming, with hope and in beauty tonight. See, it flickers up the sky through the night. Ah, we safely may trust to its gleaming. Ah, be sure it will lead us aright. We safely may trust to a gleaming that cannot but guide us aright. Since it flickers up to heaven through the night, thus I pacified Psyche and kissed her, and tempted her out of her gloom, and conquered her scruples and gloom, and we passed to the end of the vista, but were stopped by the door of a tomb, by the door of a legended tomb. And I said, what is written, sweet sister, on the door of this legended tomb? She replied, Ulalume, Ulalume, 'tis the vault of thy Ulalume. Then my heart, it grew ashen and sober, as the leaves that were crisped and sere, as the leaves that were withering and sere, and I cried, it was surely October on this very night of last year, that I journeyed down here, that I brought a dread burden down here, on this night of all nights in the year. Ah, what demon has tempted me here? Well, I know now, this dim lake of Aber, this misty mid-region of Weir. Well, I know now this dank tarn of Aber, this ghoul-haunted woodland of Weir.